Hey guys, or 1 through 4 here. I apologize for how I had having all those games uploaded and they're just numbered. I will be renaming them once I finish uploading all of them and go through them and change the names to give them better descriptors of what they are. I'm just doing it this way right now because I have to upload them from my phone because my computer's acting really weird when it is trying to upload YouTube videos, and this way it's just easier for me to keep track. The purpose of this video is more of me acting in a judge capacity because this morning when I got up, or well, this afternoon when I got up, I had an email from Julia telling me to check this page, and all judges got it today. This is effective immediately. This chart here, it's all about when card effects can be activated, and I'm not going to try to go through this entire chart right now. Basically what it means is the thing that players call priority is no longer in existence. Priority still exists, but more in a judge-like capacity. It's not going to be relevant. Basically, it means you're not going to be, when you summon a monster, you're not going to be able to claim your priority as turn player to activate a spell speed 1 type effect. They're going to have to wait for the chain to resolve and for you to be able to activate it again. Now I'm going to go through a list of a couple of the cards that we've seen in some of the cards in the recent years that have been affected by this, that are going to be affected by this a lot, and what it's going to mean for the cards. Okay, first is Rescue Rabbit. Rescue Rabbit is a card that's affected by it, and obviously it is a problem. But Rescue Rabbit is now going to be able to be destroyed before it searches out its 2 monsters. Basically, now instead of them bringing out their log, there are 2 Sabersauruses and stuff, and you waiting for your Torrential or something, you're just going to be able to hit the Rescue Rabbit, which is going to be nice if you're like afraid of them having a road or something. But like, it's going to be down to the player's opinion, like, oh, do I need to really get rid of this rabbit because I'm afraid they have a road, or why don't I wait for them to pull out their 2 targets so there's 2 less targets in their deck for them to hit with their rabbit. It's going to be like that. Effect Veiler is going to be able to hit rabbit now because Effect Veiler lasts until the end of the turn, and since the only thing it doesn't affect is like cards that start new chains when they're not on the field. But since rabbit activates on the field, you'll be able to banish him for the cost, but he won't get his effect if you Veiler him. However, if you will be able to Phoenix Chain him, but Phoenix Chain doesn't, since it doesn't prevent them from activating their effects, or from paying the cost to activate their effects, he'll banish, and then he'll get his effect off anyway because he's no longer bound by chain. So you're gonna, if you basically, well, there's going to be a recurring theme through this. If you didn't have shit before, you're not going to magically have shit now. It's just that now you're going to have a couple of more options to deal with these cards. A card that was really going to get hit by it, but isn't really relevant anymore, is Lone Fire Blossom. Obviously, Lone Fire's worst thing was tributing Lone Fire, get out whatever you needed to. And, like, regardless of what you brought out, you didn't really care if it got blown up or something. Now you can blow up Lone Fire Blossom before it tributes itself. A little bit late for it, but oh well. Next, I'm going to go through some of the boss monsters that are going to get hit by it. Judgment Dragon. You won't be able to you'll be able to have a chance to get rid of it before it pays 1,000 and blows up the field. Again, like, a lot of these things is like, if you didn't have shit to blow this up beforehand, you don't have shit to blow it up now. It's just that now that you have the ability to blow it up before it blows up all your shit. Dad is going to be I'd almost say like a less of a big deal about hitting it. Dad was only going to, if you had shit to stop Dad, it was only going to hit 1 card anyways. Now it's just going to hit 0. Blackluster Soldier. This card is really, like, it's going to get hit by priority, but the relevance is not that big. There's a lot of times where you won't use its effect to banish face-down cards, unless you're like, well, I need to banish that face-down card. Or if your opponent's like, well, they got an ass ton of back row, I can't, and I don't have, like, a judgment or something. I'm going to throw a negation, Banishment out there and hope that I hit something if I do get blown up. But like, if they don't negate his summon, odds are they probably don't have something. Like, it's just going to be now that you're going to be able to, people will be able to torrential him, and it's not going to really make that much of a difference. Like, if they weren't going to activate their effect in the first place because they want to do the double attack, you were still going to torrential him anyways. Hyperion. Now we won't be able to pop a card when he comes out. Sork. Now we won't be able to banish a card when he comes out. Just things that, like, none of these cards are like, oh, now you have like 80 different ways to stop him. It's just now you have like 2 more cards that'll be a little bit more effective on them. Now Venus won't be able to pop out her first Shine Ball whenever she gets summoned, but if you had something to deal with it, you're not gaining anything new that's going to help you deal with it. She just won't be able to pop out her Shine Ball if you bottomless her or torrential her or something. But if you're going to torrential, you may as well wait till they have at least 2 Shine Balls out. Lumina won't be able to auto pitch and summon a Lightsworn. I was thinking about talking about Lila as well, but the problem is Lila with priority really wasn't relevant because Lila had to turn to defense mode before she blew something up. So people, like, if you had something to stop her, it wasn't the lack of being able to claim priority isn't going to be really that big of a deal because she would have been like, oh, you got torrential, bottomless, etc. Turn to defense, activate effect, you would have blown her up anyways before she turned to defense mode and popped something. But yeah, Lumina. Cards like the Inzectors, that equip, they won't be able to equip directly upon summoning. However, it's not really that big of a deal because if you had shit to stop them, the equipment wouldn't matter anyways. Next, Gale, because I like to Blackwings, and I think Gale is one of the more splashable Blackwings. Gale is no longer going to be able to have immediately after he comes out. Like, you'll be able the chance to blow him up. Not that big of a deal, in my opinion. Next, Mystic Piper is a card that's going to, like, he's a lot more vulnerable now because, like, you can chain dis Mystic Piper. Yeah, Piper is going to be is really vulnerable to chain dis now. Another card I'm glad they took away priority now is because of Cardi in the next set. Cardi, you will have the option to blow it up if you don't want them to get their effects off. Their Cardi's effect off, and you'll be able to chain dis Cardi. So I think that's really good because now there is a way to stop that auto Pot of Greed. Now on to the card types that it isn't going to affect. First thing is card effects like the Monarchs. Cards that activate upon summoning or activate upon a certain condition. These effects aren't going to be affected in any way. Things like Tour Guide, no effect. Like, I'll be able to sack anything for Caius, and Caius's effect will go off regardless of what happens, because his is not a spell speed 1. Is not a spell speed 1 effect that you have to manually activate. I'm not going to go into all the different types of effects because I think it's like if I use too much terminology, I'm going to risk confusing people. But cards like Monarchs, like activate upon summoning, activate upon such and such happen, no effect whatsoever. And then spell speed 2 effects obviously aren't going to be affected at all. Things like Stardust, Xian, Logia, Thunder King Ryo are still going to be able to negate. Ryo is a little bit less of an importance, but like if I summon Stardust or Logia or Xian or Nat Beast or Nat Bark or any of those cards that have effects, spell speed 2 effects, I'm still going to be able to negate any destruction effect upon the summon of monsters like that. There's going to be no change because they're spell speed 2 effects and they'll still be able to activate it in that chain. I hope those cards were helpful for you. Now I'm going to sort of show you an overview of what is going to change to some of the answers. Effect Failure is now even more powerful of a card. Okay? Effect Failure can now hit Cardi. It can hit Lone Fire Blossom. It can hit Rescue Rabbit. It can hit all of those cards. see if there's anything else that's really relevant. That you can hit Mystic Piper. Like cards that used to get rid of themselves and dodge the effect failures are no longer going to be able to dodge the effect failures. I mean, still, if you book them, or if you well, like if it's like a continuous effect, or like a effect sort of like a Caius or something, like if you book them, they'll still be able to dodge it. But like effects that get rid of the card are going to be really hurt by effect failure. Like I'll do with Rescue Rabbit. Say I play Rescue Rabbit and my opponent activates Effect Failure on Rescue Rabbit. Now I have two options of what I can do with my Rescue Rabbit. I can either sit on Rescue Rabbit and try to protect it till next turn, and then use its effect next turn to get rid of it. Or there is a second option, which is an option that I think a lot of people might not realize right away. You can still banish your rabbit as a cost for its effect, but because of Effect Failur's wording that it negates it till the end phase, it activates on the field. It doesn't matter that's resolves out of play. Its effect is still negated, but you can still banish it. So it really depends. Is like, are you more comfortable being able to bring back a rabbit from banished zone, or can you get to another rabbit or bring it back from your graveyard? In my opinion, there's a lot of situations where I'm just going to banish the rabbit because it leaves your field open, makes people a little bit nervous about gores, and you're more likely to draw a tour guide to be able to grab, or another rabbit, than to draw a reborn. So, yeah, that's how that's going to affect rabbit and what Effect Failure is going to do. Like, Effect Failure is going to hit everything it did before. It's just now that there's going to be a couple of cards that used to dodge Effect Failure that aren't going to be able to dodge it anymore. Compulsory Evacuation Device is going to be a little bit more, is going to be better now because you're going to be able to kick back cards like Rabbit and stuff, or you're going to be able to kick back the cards that you don't want their effects to activate right away, and just kick them back to the hand. Trying to look through here, like relevant cards you're going to kick back, like I guess you can kick back. You can kick back Hyperion if you know they don't have another target, or a Chaos Monster if you know they don't have the targets to resummon them. But like kicking back JD, kicking back Dad or Pointless, like kicking back things like Rabbit is going to be good. It's going to give you a one-turn stall to get rid of them. Next, another card is Raigeki Break. I do think Raigeki Break is going to potentially see a little bit more play because, like, unlike Bottomless, it hits anything. So it can be what you need it to be. It still does discard a card, so it's going to be, people are probably going to be playtesting with this card. It's just going to be, this card is going to be a little bit more relevant. You're going to be able to pop your opponent's rabbits and stuff before they get their stuff off. Book of Moon is now going to be able to book effects like cards like Rabbit or Cardi or Lone Fire Blossom and stuff, and then they're going to be like, well, crap, I can't priority away from it. But that's if you want to use your book on that. Like, a lot of these things are just going to be giving you more options. Chain Disc is now going to be able to hit cards like, let's see, Rescue Rabbit and Mystic Piper. Both of these cards are going to fall to Chain. Like, Chain Disc is going to be able to hit both Rabbit and Piper, which is really, really crazy. Like, Chain Disappearance was clearly designed for a game that didn't have priority. But obviously that didn't happen, but now it works. Now it's going to be like that. Yeah, so when you're playing Rabbit, beware of Chain Disc, because people are going to be signing it more. Because now it's going to be able to hit both the tour guides and your bunny rabbits. Bottomless is going to be more relevant because you're going to be able to hit cards like some of the bigger cards before they activate their effects. I love Bottomless. It's one of my favorite cards in the game, and I just don't see it becoming super relevant because you still have Torrential and other cards that can get rid of it. And like Bottomless, it has to be on the summon, which obviously is what a lot of these cards are going to be dealing with. But like the attack. So some of the more broken effects that activate are monsters that aren't 1500 attack or more. So yeah. Next, Torrential. Torrential is still going to be good. You're still going to be able to wipe out an entire field. It's just that now you're going to be able to do it without having your opponent activate their effects. And And then here's a card that you guys have to worry about. Fiendish Chain. Yeah, this is a German one. I just got a playset of them. Yeah, Fiendish Chain. You've got to be careful with this card. It has 0 effect on cards like this, and this. Cards that get rid of themselves. Fiendish Chain equips itself to these cards and negates their effect. But there are almost no cards in this game that prevent your opponent from activating effects. So, like, here's how this is gonna, like, here's what would happen. You'd play any of these 3 cards. If you chain them, they're just gonna be like, okay, and they're just gonna pay the cost to remove it, and since it's no longer bound by Fiendish Chain, they're gonna get their effect off, and then you're just wasted a Fiendish Chain. Overall, it's just gonna mean that players are there's gonna be a little bit more of a balancing. That's gonna be like a balancing effect for everything. Like, the loss of priority balances out a lot of things, makes Rescue Rabbit, you can stop your rabbits now, you can stop the Pipers now, you can stop Lone Fire Blossom now. Unfortunately, Lone Fire really isn't as relevant anymore, but he's, this is a rogue deck, but you're going to see it a lot, so it's not going to be the big thing. It's this little bastard. He's going to be a little bit more stoppable now, which is really good, because if you look at the past YCSs, they've all been either winners that played Rabbit, or players who were running decks that were brought out monsters that were stronger than Rabbit. Now Rabbit's going to be able to be hit a little bit, and you're not going to it's going to have like a little bit more of a balanced deck. Now, if you notice, there weren't any wind-up cards here. Partially because I don't have wind-up cards, and because there is pretty much no wind-up that's going to be really affected by it. Like, Rat is going to be similar to Lila, as it has to change to defense position before it, and Wind-Up Rabbit is still going to be able to banish itself because it's a spell speed 2 effect. I hope this was informative for you guys. This does take effect immediately, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it was helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment in the boxes below. And, yeah, I'll hopefully have some new videos for you guys soon. Anyways, this is Aura134, signing out.